Hey, welcome to the Do Good Work podcast. Today we're doing a leadership one-on-one, and we're talking about freelancers on your team. And I call these freelancers solo artists. So there's a huge trend right now, and maybe I shouldn't say huge, but there is a significant trend right now of digital remote work and freelancers working as if they were fractional or part-time with companies to substitute or create their full-time income. Now, as business leaders and business owners, it could be a struggle juggling how do we support these solo artists and make sure that they find interest in the work that they're doing, because solo artists are solo for a reason. They want to be on their own terms, they want to be their own boss, they don't want to be unnecessary meetings. So it's important to be able to navigate this through a leadership perspective as a digital business owner. And I'm going to give you some personal perspectives that I've managed and done this. And I'm not to say that this is the end all be all, this is the way to go. But here is a perspective that I think might be helpful, because we are at a unique point of time where the best talent, in my opinion, isn't in a 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 job. Like, the best talent is, in my opinion, the solo artists. They're out there, they're crafts people, they're doing incredible work, and they're not looking for quote unquote secure job. So they're looking for clients. Now, there is also that trend where those who went on their own maybe 5 6 years ago are tired of hunting for clients and having that ups and downs that happen naturally as a digital nomad, as a freelancer. So there is that trend that they want homes to be in specifically, and that home would be your business. But even so, this rule still applies, is that because these digital artists want the freedom, they want the flexibility, and they want to choose the work that they get to do versus the work they have to do for a paycheck, it's important for us as digital leaders to be able to draft the best environment and the approach to not only push the mission of the company forward, but keep your solo artist engaged. Because if they're not engaged, you'll lose ground, and then you might be having to replace solo artists over and over again. So here are 4 ways to nurture your solo artists on your team, and I'll give perspective on top of these. So the first way is to provide challenging yet fulfilling work that they can't get anywhere else. Now, personally, I've had the issue where the work wasn't so challenging that I was giving to a solo artist, and it was here and there, and I could have done a better job. But the best solo artists, they're looking for tough problems to solve. They're looking to really showcase their expertise, to really flex and learn, because that is fulfillment in general. Think about you as a digital leader, as a business owner. You have a talent, you have a gift, and to hold that back is almost like stealing from yourself. So think about that for the solo artists working on your team. How can we have their talents, their gifts shine, and being able to give them challenging work? Because everyone wants challenging work. I think, I'm not too sure about it, I haven't studied this as deeply, but I believe from my experience and from what I've seen that we love working. Humans love to do something meaningful in their life. And in the form of work, I think we need work to be healthy. So think about that when you're looking at your solo artist and seeing how can I align with their skill sets and being able for them to flex their gifts and giving them challenging work if you have the challenging work. The second way to nurture a solo artist is to give them professional development opportunities. Because let's say, for example, they work with 5 clients, and the typical is maybe 3 to 5 clients, right? If let's say they work with 5 clients and you're one of those 5, if you're able to also support their personal or professional development, that has you stand out. And I'm not saying just do it for its own sake. Do it because it's right, because it also helps them grow and it can actually help them do better work with you. But also do that because it can have them be more attached or inclined. It's like, hey, maybe this company is up to something good. Maybe they're actually doing something meaningful in the world. And this goes back again to the mission and what you're actually looking to create in the marketplace. But I think doing that allows them to really feel taken care of. And it does mean a lot, specifically where, again, humans want community, humans want belonging, and making sure that you don't just treat a vendor as a vendor for vendor's sake. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind as well when you're working with your solo artists. The third is to create a team environment where they can perform their best work. One of the things that I say, and I mean, every time I work with solo artists, or almost everyone is a solo artist in some way. And some of them like to be within a company. Some of them like to be on their own and hunting for their own business. But because they are known for what they do, they have a craft. It's important for you to say, hey, if you want to do your best work of your life, let's work together. But you have to keep your end of that promise. If you're going to say, come do the best work you've ever done in your life, you have to set the environment where the team is, I wouldn't say challenging, but where the team is actually fostering growth and the work is demanding growth. It doesn't mean that you overwork people, but if you're really going to set that team environment for them to perform their best, that is what I'm getting at. You should be setting that environment. That's my recommendation. Sorry. You should be setting that environment for them to perform their best. And what I state out is if you want to do your best work, let's work together. Because to set that environment is a unique factor in the marketplace, specifically for culture and mindset and health and well-beings for your solo artists. And then the fourth opportunity or the fourth way to nurture your solo artists on your team is to have opportunities to be paid for the value that they create. Now, not every position requires this, and sometimes solo artists buffer this in their pricing, depending how you work with them. But being able to give them an opportunity for the value creation that they deliver to you as a business, they can get some sort of compensation for that. And I think that's important to look at it. This isn't to say pay more for paying more sake, but it is to say value the work that they're delivering, because typically, as a prudent and a savvy bootstrap profit first business owner, which hopefully you are, it has to be successful, really. We want to be also reward quality work. And because the quality work that they deliver, you turn into a 2 to 5 to 10x return on investment, to give them a compensation structure that also rewards that value input is really important. And it also creates that positive vibe, that growth vibe, and that challenging vibe. And you're also rewarding positive behavior. You're not going to do this to reward negative behavior. And any behavior rewarded, whether it's good or bad, will be repeated. So you want to make sure that you focus. What are the positive behaviors that we want to encourage with a solid compensation structure? Now, these are 4 ways to nurture. However, the key thing really is to look at, how are you viewing your solo artists? How are you engaging with them? Because that's the number one thing, the way that you treat them. And obviously we shouldn't treat them different than regular employees. There are obviously legal implications around that, but I think it's like, how are you treating your solo artists knowing that they might have 2 or 3 other projects? I think the average is around 3 to 5 projects on the side. And in today's modern economy, and again, this is my personal opinion, and this was from a statistic that I heard even before everything happened in 2020, was that about 50% of the workforce has a side gig or a side hustle. So you should just assume that they have side projects, because the best people create, the best people dabble, and they want to create and create value. And that's how they sharpen their own sword. There's no such thing as full-time anymore. Obviously, there's limited hours in a day, in a week, that everyone experiences. But in my opinion, there's no such thing as full-time. And when you think about that, it's not to overwork your staff or to underwork them, but it's just to think about that perspective, is that the team that I have right now, I'm pretty sure, just think about this, say this in the first person, I'm pretty sure they might have other work. If they have 0 work, that's great. They have full attention to you and your company. But just assume that they have other projects, and it doesn't have to be revenue generating projects for them. It could just be a community they love to serve, hobbies they love to do. So just keep that in mind as well. So those are my tips and recommendations for leading and keeping solo artists on your remote team. If you found value in today's podcast, please consider sharing this with someone that you believe could also benefit from this episode. You never know, you may be the catalyst that opens them up to a new way of operating their business and experiencing life. As always, it's an honor to be a small part of your journey. This is Raul Hernandez. Do good work.